Hello, everybody. Right now, this is my first live stream on this channel. So I'm just going to do a brief introduction and then we'll get into the video and I'll give you a bit of feedback about sort of what was going on, what I was thinking at that sort of time, a little bit about where I am now, how I've sort of shifted, and hopefully I can do, 3 or 4 of these a week. Answer any questions that you guys have got. If you're curious about some of the things I'm doing, why I'm making decisions that I'm doing, drop them in the comments and I will definitely get back to you. So, my name's Joe. I'm very, very entrepreneurial in my nature. I've always been a pain in the ass for any sort of systems, schools, all that sort of shit for them to try and put me in a box and control what I'm doing. So, when I was 25, I'm 31 now. When I was 25, done a bit of traveling, that came back to Australia and I was flat broke, nothing, like gone. I was actually negative because I was doing this marketing on Google at the time and I'd lost money. So I got back and I owed Google money and I didn't have it. So I was very, very broke. I didn't really do very well with money until I was learning constantly. Like I was reading, I was practicing sort of my mental state, changing thought processes, examining myself, doing a lot of sort of personal development stuff to move forward. And long story made short, that 5 year period from 25 had been negative to it was about 29 when I got there, but it's continued. It's sort of been steady for the last 2 years, which you'll learn as you watch these videos. But got to $1 million in net worth. Now that's not $1 million in cash that I hold in my hand. That's valuation through business, stocks, property, different investments, all that sort of shit that I've got, as well as cash, as well as gold, silver, cryptos, all those things. So that for me was a very, very interesting period of my life. And I think it would have been really cool to document it in video form. So what I thought when I turned 30, when I was getting close to turning 30, is I thought it would be really cool to actually create a really solid documentary of this process of me being 30, net worth of about $1 million, to when I'm 40, and my goal before I'm 40, but certainly by the time I'm 40 is to at least have a $10 million net worth, hopefully a bit more, and document that for people who were sort of interested in chasing that sort of success, how you sort of can go through the process, some of the key things to not do, so that if you are watching this, you can do it a shitload faster than me. I don't want this to be a channel where I'm selling products and shit, because a lot of people do that, and I don't really like it. Happy to do some sponsorships for things that I'm passionate about as it gets bigger. If it gets bigger, I mean, it might not. But it's more just sharing the story and hopefully giving people that are interested some things. I may create some groups and courses outside of this, but it's not like a coaching thing, like a more of a, there will obviously be coaching in that involved, but that's not how I sort of see this channel. I just want it to be purely focused on the documentary stuff. I will make businesses out of this, but any business that I make, one of the guarantees that I will have with it, and it's something I'm very passionate about in any business or anything that I do. Even when I go to businesses, this is what I look for, because it's just, for me personally, it's what I think business should be about. Anything that I do, if you invest $1,000 with me or $10,000 with me, $100,000 when I get to that point, I want to have an ironclad money back guarantee. If you do not get 10x the value in monetary terms within a specific time period, depending on what the product is, you get 100% of your money back and you keep the product. That's good for me because it keeps me accountable. It's good for you because you grow enormously. It means the product's really good, which is a cool thing. And I think that's a really nice impact to have with a business. So that's what I am aiming to do. Cool. Well, one of the things on top of this, you'll understand, I'm doing a lot of different things. But yeah, right, let's get into this video. So I'm 31 now. I started these videos when I was 30. I was in the process of finishing teaching my online kids self-defense business in person and moving to a 100% online format, which was a really tough decision with me because that was business that made me a lot of money. And it was something that I really loved. I had great connections with the kids in particular, and a lot of the parents that I taught. And to leave that was super difficult. But from a value standpoint, it was definitely the right decision. I made the decision to move from that, put it online, and I went and worked on farms because farming was something that I had always been appealing to me. And I thought, well, if I don't want to live in Australia anymore, I don't want to be part of what this government is creating and doing, then why not go and learn something that I think is going to be a useful skill for me later on? So I went and worked on farms. And this is a little bit of a video about it. So let's have a look. I'll stop this, give some feedback as we're sort of going, and go from there. But look at this. Oh, shit. Hold on. Let me make it bigger. Eventually, I'll have a system that does all this for me. But right now, I think if I press that one. Yep, cool. Right, let's check it out.
Yes. That's cracked right on the head. That is one of the best shots I've ever done.
So this, oh, hold on. That's, I'll talk about it later. This is some goats. Wait, let me make the quality better. For you guys, little goat. This is Australian outback, right? So everything just. That's the name of my business.
What are you doing?
So that's not actually my name, but it's the name of the self-defense business I was doing. My editor that's doing these videos also did the in-person ones. So she's just used the same name, but we're going to change that to Rebel Masculine One later on.
Yo! Gotta get you! This is nigga time. And there was another.
So this is a very, if you've never been to Australia, never been to the outback, you can see everything on the land. It's very rocky. So these are all really, really sharp rocks. It's actually an amazing landscape. I've got some videos later on that I'll show you how the plates, like the tectonic plates in the earth, sort of break apart and join together. Absolutely fascinating for me, anyways. You might not find it fascinating. I did. How they sort of drive up in the land, because I always thought that Australia was in the middle of a plate, and then you go there, and I was like, I asked my mate whose property it was, his family sort of runs it. I was like, what the hell is the go? Like, you look at all these rocks and they're just shooting up. Like, clearly they are being pushed up from the ground on like these crazy angles, and they make these mountain ranges in the middle of the country. I had no idea it was there. And he was like, yeah, well, there's like different layers of tectonic plates. Like, you've got your main ones, and then you've got little ones on top of that, and little ones on top of that. And that's where you get all these sort of murmurs, and fascinating for me. Anyways, let's keep going. These are goats, right? Wild goats. They run through, they love all these hills and all that shit. They're cool animals.
10 or so on the way in.
So I clean this. This is part of my job. It's a trough where the sheep are on this property. They come and get water. This water comes from a bore. I'll show you some images of bores later on. But the goats on the property also drink from this as well. They end up selling the goats later on. So the goats are actually part of the business, but they're all wild. That was actually really weird. Like this part here was super funny because so when they were here, I just cleaned it and I was like standing there. And I don't know if they can't detect movement very well or what. They must have been thirsty because they just walked down the hill, which they never do, right? And they just started to get a drink. So they must have been super thirsty. Had a bit of fun anyway.
We've been doing goats. Mustering goats. So we've got like over.
So let's see. These are all goats back here. You can see over there. That'd be Luke. And then we've got some sheep in there as well. But we were catching a ton of goats. We got like over 1,000 goats in this day.
Sold a bunch already. So the break was here, this bit and that bit. So that's the joint I did. It looks a bit, but it's holding. So it's doing the job. All the wire was all right. I did.
And here, so this is a creek, right? And in Australia, in the outback, this is like the middle of the country. You've got a lot of these sort of creeks that run, but they're dry most of the time, and the ground is really hard, like really hard. So the water comes through and doesn't sink in, and you get these massive floods that come through. So the water will come up to like the bottom of this gate over here. That's like another metre or two high. And it washes through, and you've got this fence here that's dividing two paddocks. But you can't have it stuck in the ground, because if it's stuck in the ground, the fence just pushes over. And you got to design it so it can swing and then come back. But just be there as a bit of a block for any sheep or cattle that try and get through it. Goats will probably just not give a fuck and go through it anyway. But that's the idea of this, and I was just fixing this one.
Sort of did these hanging a bit off these ones like we did on the other gates. And there was star posts along there. I don't really understand why, so I just took them out and then strained it. But I put another couple of star posts just on the bank there to hold that wire. That one's a bit, but it'll do the job.
Wild pigs.
Mum and the bubs.
With its babies.
I'm going to come back.
So that's a pig trap, right?
I'll come back and give them.
You got to make them really solid. These pigs are vicious, bloody creatures. And they'll kill a lot of baby lambs. They'll attack you if you get close very violently. So you got to be quite cautious. But what we're doing here is you just get a bunch of dead kangaroos, and they chuck them in. They fester, they stink. Pigs walk through the trap door here, and then they eat them, but then they can't get out. If you do the edges very well, which took me a few goes because they kept escaping.
The Jack, my friends, is an amazing
the brown snake.
So that's a brown.
Eastern brown. Very deadly.
That's cracked right on.
And I was just driving along this road, and I saw this snake. I was like, oh shit! And out here, you've always got your gun on you in case you see a pig or you see something wild, or you've got a really sick sheep that you got to shoot in the head or something, right? A lot of death. And this thing was just slithering across the road. I was like, oh man, I've got to have a go at this. And it was with a 22, right? Really small gun. And man, that was a brilliant shot.
On the head. That is one of the best shots I've ever done. And that's
I wanted to make
very deadly brown snake in Australia, which is dead now, but you still don't touch them because they still got venom and stuff. That's all just nerves and that ending. I think you chose the wrong place to walk.
Right into the back of the ute. Ended up falling off. It was a bit funny.
Where we're currently shooting at the moment.
There's
These
another
are lambs.
station.
They'll go through that shed up there, and they get shorn, and they come out like these white ones.
Catch them all, put them in these
yards.
yards.
They're all white.
Put them through,
on their wool.
Get their wool.
One of the shooters taking a piss. This pot here, chuck them through this machine. It sprays them with chemical stuff to get rid of the lice and flies and fleas and so the wool's all good. And then there's some tanks up there, so that's a paddock we've taken for all around these paddocks that we use. 6,000 sheep here, so we've got about 1,500 to go. Nearly done. Should be done tomorrow. It's good. And we've got one more property to do, but yeah, it's been interesting. A bit colder now, so we've got these ones out in the sun because usually they'd be in the shed. There's dew in the morning, and when their wool gets wet and you press it,
I lost those glasses.
These boxes. Press it, you squeeze it, and it's wet and go mouldy, so it can ruin the whole thing. And it's like over $1,000 a bale. There's like 200 kilos of wool in a bale, so you don't really want it all ruined. And then if the mold goes through to others, like we stacked a truck the other day and we got 97 bales on there. I think 18 tons of wool. It's crazy. Yeah, if they all go mouldy, that's a lot of money, a lot of business down the gut.
So the sheep, let me have a look here. The sheep in here, because it gets quite cold in the morning. So when they're outside, you leave them in here overnight after you caught them. When they're outside, you get a lot of dew, like condensed, not ice, but call it dew. I don't know what else you call it. Moisture, right? Condensed water goes together and it'll sit on their wool. And so if they're outside, they can dry off a little bit during the day out here before we put them into the shed to get shorn, because if you shorn them while they're wet, then everything can get moldy and it can lose you thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, as well as destroy all the product, which you just don't really want that. It's not good business.
Yeah, if they all go moldy, that's a lot of money, a lot of business down the gurgler. You don't really want that to happen. But that's what they use it for. I'd be interested to find out what the organic guys do with that. But yeah, it's all in the
So that is that. Go and check out the other ones. Drop a comment, right? What I'd really be interested in, and it helps the videos a lot if you put comments down the bottom. So if you got questions, things that you like, put in the comments. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you want to see more of, even about the lives. What didn't you like about the live? What would you like to see more of? It helps me because I'm making this. I'm making it for me first, right? I am, because I think this will just be a cool thing for me to be able to look back on. But obviously, people that are watching it, I want you guys to like it. So if I can do it in a way that's for me first, and then for you guys as the viewers next, it's beneficial for everyone. So yeah, drop comments, let me know. I don't care if you give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, just do something. Engage with the video. But I'm going to leave it there, guys, and I'll do another one for you tomorrow, maybe. All right, see ya.